candidate who is running for state auditor is Diana DiZoglio, Senator Diana DiZoglio. Thank you, Senator.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is a great morning to be here with so many amazing activists. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here to support our shared values in the Democratic Party. I am humbled and honored to be here today. My name is Diana DiZoglio. I am a state senator from the Merrimack Valley. A little bit about myself. I was born to a 17-year-old single mother in the city of Methuen. We moved back and forth between the gateway cities of Methuen and Lawrence throughout my childhood, depending on where my mother, who was a young nurse's aide at the time, could find work. I went through the public school system and then went off to community college, which was an associate's degree that I was able to afford thanks to our Democratic legislature's investments in families like mine. Give it up for our community colleges. Thank you. From there, friends, I was so humbled to have been able to earn a seat at Wellesley College, but the only reason why I was able to attend there was because of a full financial scholarship. And I think it's so important to talk about that, friends, because it really was due to those financial investments that others made into my future success. Regardless of my family background, my bank balance, or my zip code, that I was able to actually see some future success, like so many other working families in our communities. And that inspired me to give back to my community in any way, shape, or form that I could. And since I couldn't do so financially, I decided to get into community service. I went to go work at various local nonprofits. As a childhood survivor of domestic violence, I went to go work in a young teen girls' home as a live-in mentor, mentoring young teen girls who had survived domestic violence in the home. I served at Girls Inc., running some after-school programs, and I also worked at the United Teen Equality Center, running their cultural arts department and expanding diversity, equity, and inclusion programming, working with inner-city children. Simultaneously, throughout those years, I was waiting tables and running a small cleaning company as more of a side hustle. And I got offered a job working at the State House in the House of Representatives for a state representative. And I will tell you, I took that job not even knowing what a state representative did, but I knew that I needed health insurance, so I went in for the interview, and I took the job. And it was like drinking water from a fire hose. I learned about all the great things that our state legislature can do, from investing in early education, public education, and higher education, fighting against climate change, fighting for workers' rights. Thank you to all of our labor leaders in the room here today. But I also, friends, learned about the flip side of how our state government can operate. During that very short time working on Beacon Hill, as a younger woman in my 20s, I was sexually harassed. And the way that it was thought appropriate to deal with that harassment was to dismiss me from my position and require that I sign a taxpayer-funded, your dollars, non-disclosure agreement just to get a basic severance package on my way out the door. But I didn't let them get rid of me. I didn't let them keep me quiet, and I didn't leave state government like I was told to do. I instead decided to, thank you, run for state representative myself, and a little over a year later made my way back into that same chamber in the House of Representatives as the youngest woman serving in the House of Representatives. And friends, when I got elected, I took that responsibility incredibly seriously, and I knew it was incumbent upon me to fight for other working families in our communities who, like my family was, and maybe for completely different reasons, but for who, like my family was, have either been dismissed or ignored or disenfranchised by a system in our state government that's just not working for all families in Massachusetts the way that it could and the way that it should. And I took on that fight regarding those taxpayer-funded non-disclosure agreements. That's a fight that I took with me to the state Senate, where I'm so proud to say that we've unanimously passed a complete ban on the abuse of those taxpayer-funded non-disclosure agreements, thanks to my colleagues. But we have a Republican administration, friends, who continues to dig their heels in on the abuse of our tax dollars and silencing of workers across the board, and it doesn't end there. We think about all of the lack of transparency and accountability we saw through the pandemic, from the distribution of the vaccine and the millions in no-bid contracts that went out to friends in the private sector, to telling mistruths about the Holy Soldiers' Home, to continuing to contract with companies that have proven to abuse the public's trust time and time again. I've been championing transparency, accountability, and equity for the last 10 years on behalf of our communities. I will take that work with me to the state auditor's office. We know, friends, that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and our state government could use some cleaning up right now. So my commitment to you is that I will be an auditor that will shine a light in the dark areas of our state government, but I can't do it without your support. I see my time is up right now. Thank you so much for having me today. I respectfully ask for your